Welcome to our podcast news. Today we will be covering two local, two state, and two national current issues here with Miriam.
Salma.
Batul.
And Zainab.
A brother shot and killed his stepbrother in Dearborn Heights after having an argument about basketball. The Dearborn Heights Police Department said a man was arrested for the shooting death of his stepbrother after the two got into an argument during a basketball game.
According to investigation, Michael Bullitt shot Jeffrey Steen multiple times. Police said they were called to a home on Clairview in Dearborn Heights around 10 p.m. night to a shooting. Dearborn Heights police said they found Jeffrey conscious and still breathing inside the home. He was taken to Beaumont and Farmington Hills.
He was later pronounced dead from his injuries. Investigators recalled Jalen was identified as the suspect in his stepbrother's shooting death. Witnesses in the home said Jalen and Jeffrey got into an argument during a basketball game earlier in the day, and the two continued their dispute until Jalen shot him several times before running from the home.
On Monday, police located Jalen and arrested him for the murder of Jeffrey. Police said the investigation is still going in progress and are referring all updates to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
Now I'm going to be passing it on to our interviewee Zainab and on-scene reporter Batul to get us know more about the situation.
Okay, Batul. I have a few questions about the shooting.
Okay.
So first, what is your perspective on the shooting?
So I think it was more than just these two brothers arguing over basketball. There probably was something deeper than that. They were probably arguing over something much more serious. It's not possible that somebody was shot over a basketball game.
Okay, and how do you think prosecution will move on with this case in trial?
I think the brother would definitely get a consequence, possibly lifetime in jail if he was convicted of first-degree murder.
Yeah. Now passing it on to Mariam and Selma talking about the second issue.
A popular Mexican restaurant in Dearborn Heights has closed its dining room after 2 weeks of battling customers over requiring them to wear face masks to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Mexican Fiesta went back to carry out only Monday, just 2 weeks after reopening its dining room. It has been closed under the state's stay-home order during the pandemic.
Unfortunately, there were multiple situations where our staff was disrespected and treated. The restaurant said in announcing the decision on its Facebook page, "The safety of our customers and staff is our number one priority. So we have made the tough decision of closing our doors to the general public until February." The Facebook post has more than 500, many sad but praising the restaurant for its decision.
Sam Alvarado, manager of the family-owned and operated restaurant, said its staff has recorded verbal insults mainly stemming from people upset about not wanting to wear a mask into the building. Alvarado said the verbal run-ins including customers being generally insulting, using foul language, accusing the restaurant of infringing on their rights and saying it's not medically safe. Now, passing it on to our interviewee Zainab and on-scene reporter Batul to get us to learn more about the situation.
So Batul, do you think, in your opinion, that the restaurant mask mandate is inconvenient? If so, why?
I don't think it's inconvenient. The only reason why masks should be used in restaurants is you're moving around, you're spreading the virus, getting in contact with several things until you're seated down, which obviously that's COVID distancing when they have you spaced out 6 feet apart. Walking around a restaurant without a mask, you're able to spread the virus without even knowing. And you could possibly pick up the virus just not knowing what you're touching and not knowing what you're passing by. So it should definitely stay. Mask mandates are mandatory.
And it's not safe too when they're walking around and just Okay. So passing it back to Mariam and Selma talking about the state news.
Now with our state news. It started with Michigan coronavirus crisis. The state is among the hardest hit with nearly 34,000 cases and more than 2,800 deaths as of April 22nd.
In March, Whitmer called out the Trump administration for failing to help Michigan and other states get tests and protective equipment, and Trump responded by insulting them. Soon, Michigan became one of the most visible sites of conservative protest against social distancing rules protests encouraged by Trump's tweets.
On April 15, about 3,000 protesters led by the coalition descended on Lansing, Michigan to oppose Whitmer's order.
While protesters were told to stay in their cars, some got out and stood close together, breaking social distancing guidelines, coming together, congregating without masks within 6 feet of one another, and then going back to other parts of the state is exactly what threatens to continue the spread of COVID-19.
Now I'm going to be passing it on to our interviewee Zainab and on-scene reporter Batul, getting us to know more about the situation.
So Batul, I have a few questions about this topic. Is the death toll in Michigan Governor Whitmer's fault? And could she have done better prepared the state for the pandemic?
I don't think the death toll is her fault. She did put in guidelines that we all need to follow. Not everybody followed her restrictions at the beginning of the quarantine. She did ask that everybody stay home. Everybody followed her guidelines to prepare us and keep us safe, but nobody really followed that. So whoever caught the virus caught it on their own risk, going out, not being safe. And she did prepare us pretty good for this virus, just having it come out of nowhere. She did the best she could, and I think that she did a pretty good job.
Would you give any suggestions to her, like anything else? Like, would you think, in your opinion, that there's more that she could have done to, like, help us prepare more?
Possibly enforce the quarantine restriction. Yeah, make it more permanent, and not permanent, but like enforce it more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now passing it back to Mariam and Selma.
As our second state news current issue is, in the state of Michigan vaccination, the coverage vaccination is estimated percentage of people within the specific area of age group who have received the COVID vaccine. MCIR data are used to the numerator of the U.S. Census estimates are used to population denominator.
There are two vaccination coverage estimates. The percentage of individuals who have received one dose and the percentage who received 2 doses. Michigan's immunization providers are required to report COVID vaccination to the MCIR within 24 hours of administration.
These data will be updated every Monday through Saturday. Previously reported numbers of administration vaccines doses may change as new data are received. A possible lag in reporting vaccination doses will result in increases in numbers previously reported.
Now everyone in Michigan is able to get the vaccines if they want.
Now passing it on to our interviewee Zainab and on-scene reporter Batul to get us to learn more about the situation.
So Batul, what are precautions the state should enforce with the vaccine and everything?
Definitely keeping the masks. Even if you did get vaccinated, it's possible that you could get the virus.
Right.
And even if you had the vaccine, like just the first shot, you're able to possibly spread the virus. Because you will get sick after taking the shot. And definitely keeping up quarantine, making sure whoever's sick stays at home, and everybody just takes necessary precautions.
So do you think that when the person is vaccinated, they should be quarantined after they get vaccinated for like a week or 2?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah,
And
it's kind of like with the flu shot. After the flu shot, you get sick.
yeah.
So it's possibly the same thing with the COVID shot. Once you take the COVID shot, you could get sick, so you should be home.
And do you also think that everyone should still have their masks on until they're vaccinated? Or if they're vaccinated, do you also think that they should have their masks on regardless?
Yeah, because you just never know who was vaccinated and who wasn't. There's just want to make sure you take every precaution and being very safe with it, making sure everybody keeps their masks on until every citizen in the state is vaccinated.
Okay. And now passing it back to Maryam and Selma with the national news.
As Zainab said, thank you for passing it on. Now with our national news, most states still require face masks to reduce the spread of COVID-19. These are the ones that don't: Alaska, Georgia, Arizona, Florida, Idaho, Iowa, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Texas.
Alaska does not require the use of masks, limit group size or business operations. All the state does is encourage Alaskans to do their part to limit the spread of COVID-19, recommending that residents practice social distancing and wear a mask without any mandate. Arizona allows individuals counties to mandate a mask but does not have a statewide initiative. In Florida, there is no statewide mask requirement, yet some local municipalities have their own mandates.
Georgia's statewide masks are required for some essential employees, including restaurants and personal care services employees. Idaho does not have a statewide requirement, but several local municipalities do, including both. Iowa, the state implemented a mask mandate in November, but in February, Governor Kemp did lift the requirement.
Mississippi, on September 4, Governor Tate Reeves, a Republican, lifted the state face covering requirement. Montana had a mask mandate, but newly elected Governor Greg Giant let expire in February. Though he said local communities may continue to Nebraska, there is no statewide mandate, but clients and staff in barbershop, salons, tattoo parlors, and massage parlors must wear masks as part of the current direct health measure requirements.
North Dakota did not have a mask mandate until November 2020, and it expired in January. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem has taken a hands-off approach to COVID-19. In October, she wrote and opened that the government should not mandate a mask requirement. Tennessee, through their new statewide mandate, Governor Bill Lee signed an executive order granting the mayors in 89 countries the authority to issue mask mandates.
Texas statewide mask mandate will be lifted on March 10. Governor Greg Abbott executive order on March 2nd rescinded most of the previous executive orders dealing with COVID-19, including the mask mandate. He confirmed at a news conference also that March 10 all business of any kind are allowed to open 100%.
Now I'm going to be passing it on to our interviewee Zainab and on-scene reporter Batul to get us to know more about the situation.
So, Batul, do you believe our state is safe enough to lift the state precautions like the other states continue to do?
No, I don't think Michigan is safe enough to lift the quarantine precautions. We're still high in COVID cases. Other states have decreased in their cases and have distributed enough vaccines to be able to lift that mandate.
And do you also think that like other states are wrong for removing the mask mandate as COVID-19 is still a major issue in the U.S.?
Not all states have. Not all states are in the wrong, but most states are. Not every state has completely cleared out of COVID, and they have completely secured their state and made it safe enough for other citizens to walk around without a mask. There are a few states that lifted the mask mandate, which I don't think is right. Keeping the masks and keeping people distant is the safest thing we could do right now.
Right. Now passing it back to Maryam and Selma.
George Floyd, a 46-year-old male, was arrested shortly after 8 p.m. after using a fake $20 bill at a local cut food. He died while in police custody. A disturbing cell phone video later posted to Facebook showed an officer pinning Floyd to the ground with his knee on Floyd's neck while a hand cuffed, and then Floyd kept repeating, "I can't breathe," and that video did go viral.
Demonstrators in other states, including Los Angeles and Memphis, started to march in outrage over the death of In Minneapolis, peaceful protests turned violent as fires and looting break out, and cops attempted to disperse crowds with rubber bullets and tear gas. Derek Chauvin, the officer seen in the video on Floyd's neck.
Later on, he got arrested and charged with a third-degree murder and a second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's death. The charges carry a maximum of 35 years in prison combined. Floyd's family calls for first-degree murder charges and that the remaining 3 officers be arrested and charged.
Protests in all states started to happen. Some were peaceful and some were not. However, everything did stop after the officers got arrested.
Now I'm going to be passing it on to our interviewee Zainab and on-screen reporter Batul to let us learn more about the situation.
So, Batul, did the officers responsible for Floyd's death get the necessary consequences?
I don't think they did. I'm pretty sure they got fired for their job. Fired for murdering someone isn't right. They should be consequenced and put in prison for a very long time,
Right.
if not life. Killing somebody while they're causing them pain, even though they haven't done anything wrong, that's just wrong. They shouldn't be allowed. They shouldn't have their badges taken away. They should be put in prison for a very long time.
Now passing it back to Mariam and Selma.
Thank you, Zainab and Batul, for passing it on. As now we are done with our broadcast, and hope to see you second day.